So I have terrible memory, and that's a big disadvantage for me. Sometimes I have a hard time immersing myself into the character, and I find myself stressing over the lines even when I know my lines. Like, so what I do is I keep reading through the script till the time I feel like I can't do all the lines. Like, I even try to learn up the other lines that are not mine. But even in situations like that where I've learned my lines fully, I still find myself stressing over my next line. And I keep thinking while I'm in the moment, I still find my mind wandering to the script and what it could be. And I remember even during our workshop, you'd given me this feedback about how you just want me to forget my lines and just be in the moment and be present with the emotions. So I have a really hard time with that. Do you have any tips for me?
Yeah, sure. I think there are two parts to this
Okay.
question.
Okay.
One is that there are some people who find it difficult to memorize, and there are some people to whom it comes very easy.
Yeah.
For example, I also find it very difficult. I mean, not that I act, but I also have a memory issue.
Okay.
So the solution is to just work slightly harder than people with better memory.
Okay.
That is
Okay.
one. You just have to do it longer, and you just have to devote more time to it. Another thing that really helps is instead of memorizing, just reading again and again and again and again and again.
Okay.
Like that really helps.
Yeah.
When you just read and read and read, and you read it not with the purpose of, oh, I'm reading this to learn my lines.
Okay.
You're reading it just to read it.
Okay.
Just that familiarity of going through the lines again and again makes a huge difference. It becomes a part of your memory. Another very good exercise that especially people in theatre use is that they will record the voice of the co-actor
Okay.
on a dictaphone or a phone, voice note or whatever, and then leave space for your dialogue.
Okay.
So what happens is, and you can either do it with the co-actor if the co-actor is available. If not, then any friend or anybody who's giving you the cues, and then there's a 30-second pause because you have a paragraph to fill in within that, and then the cue, and then that.
Okay.
So if you have that recorded, then even when you're traveling, you're in a plane, you're in a car, or you're sitting at home, wherever, just play it. Put it on your earphones. When the cue comes, say a dialogue.
Yeah. So when I'm home, I get my mom to do that for me.
Yeah.
Like, she reads my lines with me. So that's not the problem. I feel like even when I know my lines properly, I learn them so well that I could write it down. But when I'm in the audition situation or even on set, I sometimes feel like the nervousness takes over me so much, and I think about that, oh, you can't remember lines. And I have this negative voice in my head that goes on like, oh, but what if you forget the next line?
But that's the second part of the answer, which is that we sometimes develop these fears with regard to certain things in our life, with certain concepts and notions. So in your case, this learning lines has become a stressful activity. And every time you have to go on set or you have to say your lines, there is this pressure, this stress, this nervous energy that comes in because of this concept that you have built for yourself that you can't do it. So we need to change the can't do it to I am doing it. That mind, that shift needs to happen at the mind level, which will happen if you, when the nervous energy is coming, that in that moment you tell yourself, okay, I don't need to go to the nervousness. I actually need to relax myself in that moment. So anytime you feel yourself going to stress of the line, just go to your breath and relax yourself. Every time you feel that the nervous energy is taking over, go to your breath and trust that you, like you said, you actually know your lines and you have worked on them. So there is no reason for you to forget it. And that's when you're in the middle of a scene actually is being written with some coherence and some flow. So when you're in that flow, you will know what's next because it's been written like that. When a co-actor says something, it will elicit only what was your cue for that. It will not elicit some other paragraph or some other line, which will only happen if you're with the co-actor in that moment and you're present there and you actually listen to what that person is saying. But what ends up happening is we're not listening, we're not present, and we are stressing. So the stress does not help to go to the line. We're not taking the cue, like literally taking the being of the other person in that moment. So just the practice of staying relaxed will definitely help in you going to your line.
Okay.
So it's just a pattern that you need to break. It's just it's a misconception that you built for yourself.
Yeah.
कि मेरे को ये प्रॉब्लम है जब
Yeah.
एक्चुअली वो प्रॉब्लम शायद नहीं है.
Maybe no longer.
Maybe no longer.
Maybe no longer. Yeah.